Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another tutorial. It's me IJ and I'm back with a new tutorial. Thanks for my returning subscribers. You guys are amazing. If today is your first time of stopping by, you're on the right channel. Kudos to us, we have reached a milestone of 3,000 subscribers. Yes, but guys, you are not watching my videos. Watch my videos. The video count is less than nothing. I plead that you people watch my video. Drop any comment on the comment section what you want us to improve or what you want us to do. So guys, to reach this milestone, I want us to DIY a trouser. We are going to draft, cut and sew a trouser. This is a requested video from one of my subscribers. So this pattern we are using is a unisex pattern. You can use it to achieve that of a man, or you can use it to achieve that of a woman. Also, you can use it for a child. So that is why I want us to DIY this trouser today. I'm going to do it in two videos. The first one is the drafting because I want to take it one after the other. The first one is going to be the drafting and the cutting, and the second video is going to be the stitching. So guys, without wasting much of your time, let us get into today's tutorial. So now I have this Ankara material. Normally this Ankara I want to use it, but for it to be clear for us to understand, I decided to draft it first on the pattern, on my pattern paper. Then I'll just use it to cut out the panels on the Ankara material. Now guys, this is our starting point. On this side we're starting point, and here is also our starting point. Do you see it? So this side is not inclusive. Here is our starting point. So now from this starting point, now I'm going to go in by 1 inch. Do you see it? I'm going to go in by 1 inch from this starting point. So here now I'm going to insert my waist measurement. The waist I'm working with is 47. Divide 47 by 4. I'm going to have 11.75. Here is my 11.75. Then I'll add 1 inch to it. Do you see it? So this 11.75, I added it 1 inch, so it's giving me 12.75. So I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to bring it down here. 12.75. That is here. This is my 12.75. Do you see it? On this side, I'm going to add extra 1 inch to this waist measurement. Remember, here is our waist measurement. 11.75 plus 1 inch. That is 12.75. So I'm going to bring it down here, 12.75, and I'm going to add 1 inch to it. This is where we are going to now determine our crotch. So on this other side, I'm going to come down by the same measurement, 12.75 plus 1 inch, that is 13.75. You see, that is 13.75. That is what I'm marking here, or you call it 13.75. On this other side, it is also 13.75. Do you see it? So now, this 12.75, I'll make sure I have it here. I'll make sure I have it. Do you see it? I have it 12.75. So I'll make it into a straight line. So here I've made it into a straight line, and also here I'll make it into a straight line. Let me go through it again. Remember, from this starting point, I go in by 1 inch, which is this. And from this 1 inch, I measured my waist measurement, which is 11.75, and I added 1 seam allowance, which is 12.75. This 12.75, I now came down on the vertical measurement. I came down also with 12.75, and after which I added 1 inch seam allowance. That makes it 13.75. So, and on this side, I make sure that it's equal. Do you see it? To be 13.75 on this side also, and I draw them into a straight line. So now here is where we are going to insert our crotch. So this line that we came down now is to determine our crotch. And how do we do that? So easily and simple. Divide your laps by 2. And the laps we are working with is 32. 32 divided by 2 is going to give us 16. So from this 1 inch here now, remember we came in by 1 inch to start inserting our measurement. And here we also came in when we want it to be on a straight line. So let me just draw it so that you people understand. Do you see it? So this is also 13.75, and also here is 13.75, and here is 12.75, and also here is 12.75 for us to get our measurement. So now the flap, we are coming to the flap. So to determine your flap, that is what we are working now. On this line that we came down, we are going to insert our laps measurement. You insert your laps measurement on your flap measurement. So this is now where we are going to insert our laps measurement. So the laps we are working with is 32. The laps we are working with is 32. So 32 divided by 2 is going to give us 16. So we are going to, from this point now, do you see this point? From this point, we are going to measure 16. Do you see it? So from here now, we now give it a straight line to join the 16 we have just measured. Do you see it? And here now, you are going to curve your C to get your crotch. So I'm going to use my curve now. So now I'm going to use my curve, that is the armhole curve, just to give my C. Do you see it, guys? And this is our crotch measurements. Simple. So now we have determined our crotch measurements. We are going to insert other measurements. So to accommodate the hip, we are going to come out here by 1 inch. That is from this line, we are going to come out from 1 inch. That is from our starting point, we are going to come to our starting point. Do you see it? So here we are going to come out 1. So now we are going to now determine the length of our trouser. The length we are working with, that is the vertical length of the trouser, is 38. So I'm going to mark at 38 here, and I'm going to add more 2 inches as my seam allowance. Do you see it? I mark 2 inches as my seam allowance. So now we are going to also determine our measurement of the knee. So from the waist, we are going to come down where we have our knee measurement. The knee, from the waist to the knee I'm working with, is 21. So I'm going to mark at 21 here. This is my 21. That is from my waist to my knee is 21. It's here. Do you see it? And another way you can determine your waist to the knee is to divide the length by 2. If you divide it by 2 and add 1 inch to it, you get your knee. Simplest way. But if you take the accurate measurement, just take the length. So this is my 21. That is waist to my knee is 21. Do you see it here? So the next thing to do now is to come in from this side, from this length. I'm going to come in also by 1 inch that we came here. Remember, we came in here by 1 inch. So I'm going to come in here also by 1 inch. So from this side now, we are going to insert our measurement. So now, from this waist, I'm going to connect to this hip. with my straight ruler. Remember, we came out to accommodate the hip. That is why we are connecting. You see it? I'm taking it one by one so that we can understand it. So now, from this hip, now I'm going to connect to this 1 inch that I came in here. Because our body is not straight. So that is why we are giving it a little curve. Do you see it? So now, I'm going to take my tape to measure my 21 on this side also. That is the knee length. It's here. So the next thing to do now is to divide my ankle. The measurement of my ankle is 14. Divide 14 by 2, you are going to have 7. So from this place that we came in, I'm going to measure 7 inches. Do you see it? From these 7 inches now, I'm going to draw a straight line to meet this knee line. Just take, do you see it? To meet the knee line. And from there now, I'm going to connect to the crotch. First, you connect in this form. Do you see it, guys? But I'm not going to leave it in this form. It's not, our body is not straight like this, so I'm going to curve it, thereby using my curve. Just to curve this area. Do you see it? So I'm going to use my curve. I'm going to use my pattern paper curve. Do you see it now? So I'm going to use my paper pattern master to curve it. Guys, do you see it? So now this is what we are going to cut out. Now guys, we have now curved it. Do you see it? So the shape is now good. It's not the straight form because our body is not straight. So that is why we now curve it to get our right shape. So now on this upper side, remember we added 1 inch on this down. When we now measured our 12.75, we added extra 1 inch. So we are going to remove it here on the upper side. So now we are going to come down by 1 inch here. Then we'll now join it to this. So that is the waist slant. So we are going to join it here. Do you see it? That's the waist slant. Now guys, do you see it? So we are going to cut it out now, after which we are going to use this to cut out our back panel. Now guys, we are going to cut this out because this is what we are going to use for our zip. That is from the crotch. We are going to use it for the zip. So we are going to also use it to cut out our material. Now guys, this is our front panel. Now we are going to cut out our back panel. So I've just brought out another plain paper. Then I'll now place this here. Do you see it? I place it here. Then I'll now use my tape to tape it so that it's not going to be shifting, so that we are going to have our accurate measurement. Do you see it? So the next thing to do now is to add, on this side I'm going to add 1.5 inch. On this side, I'm going to add 1.5 inch. You can equally add 2 inches if you want, but I'm working with 1.5. Or let's add 2 inches on this side. You can equally add 1.5. So on this side, I'm adding 2 inches. And on this side, on this point, the crotch point, I'm going to add 3 inches. The crotch point, I'm going to add 3 inches. Do you see it? And I'm going to make it into a straight line. You see it? I added 3 inches, and from that point, I made it into a straight line. And on this upper side, you are going to add some inches to it so that when the person sits down, the person will not be exposed. So that is why we are adding some inches on this upper side. Some call it the rise, so that it's going to cover the boobs of the person. The butt of the person we are making it is going to cover it. So on this side, I'm going to come up by 1.5 inch. Or you can come up by 2 inches. If you're making it for a lady, 2 inches. If you're making it for a guy, 1.5, 1 inch is okay. So I'm going to come up by 1.5 inch on this side. Do you see it? And on this side also, I'm going to come out by 1 inch for dart at the back panel. The back panel is going to have a dart. So I'm going to come out here by 1 inch. That is the dart allowance. Do you see it? This is my 1.5 inch that I went up to cover the boobs, and this is the 1 inch that I added for that allowance at the back. So from from here, I'm going to mark it here, not here, sorry. I'm going to mark it at the point of the crotch. You see it? So here now I'm going to use my curve to give the curve of the back panel. You see it, guys? So this is just for us to see what we are doing. So this is our C for the back panel. So from here now, I'm going to join it to the waist. That is the rise that we did, so that the so from here now, I now join it to the waist. Do you see it? So that is what we are going to cut out. So now let's connect our dots. Now guys, this is our back panel. Do you see it's so simple to achieve? So guys, let me take the back panel once again. Remember, on this front panel, we came up by 1.5 inch to cover the butt of the person we are making it for. Then we connected it to the waist. And on this side, we added 1 inch for the dart allowance at the back panel. So from the 1 inch we connected, we used a straight ruler to come straight to the point of the first panel. That is the front panel, where we now gave 3 inches for our back crunch curve. Do you see it? So from there, we now connected it to the 2 inches that we gave at the allowance. Remember, making trouser, the allowances is always at the back panel and not the front panel. At the back, you add your allowance that you want. So now guys, this is it. The next thing is just to cut it out, and here you follow your straight line to cut it out. That is exactly the same thing you have on your front panel, you are going to cut out here, and on the back side, the crunch side, you now added the allowance. So now guys, let us cut it out. Guys, this we are going to cut it out. That was why I drew this line. We are going to cut it out for using it for our pockets. So now guys, this is the front panel and this is the back panel. Do you see it? So what I'm going to do now is to place it on my material. This is my material, the Ankara material. I'll place it and I'll cut it out and I'll show it to you guys. I have cut out our panel using our drafts. Do you see it? So this is the front panel. So this is the panel of it. Do you see it? And this is the back panel. Do you see it? That's the back panel. And this is the panel of it. So guys, this is our panels. And also I have cut out, this is what I'm going to use as the pocket. So I just measured out 14 inches by length, and I measured out 15 inches by length and 14 inches by width. Do you see it? And I just gave it a curve. So this is our pocket. I cut out 2 of it. Do you see it? I cut out 2 of it. That is why I said we should now keep that we are going to use. So that is the one that we now cut out from the crotch of the back panel. So we are going to use it to beautify some parts of the pocket so that when the person puts his hand, it will not be shown. So we are going to use it. And this is the one for the zip, the one that we cut out for the zip. Do you see it? And also I cut out the band. The waist is 47. I divided it in 2, which is 23.5. So I cut out the length. I added 4.5 inches, which gave me 29. If I finish what I don't need, I cut it out. So the length I cut out is 29 inches in 2, and the width is 5 inches. That is my belt band. I cut it out in 2 pieces. Do you see it? That is the band of the belt that we are going to use. The waist, divide it in 2 and add extra 4 to 5 inches, after which you cut out what you don't need. And now guys, the belt stripe, I cut out 2 stripes for the belts that we are going to use as our belt stripe. I cut out 2 lengthy stripes, and the width is 1.5 inch. Do you see it? So after which what I don't need, I put it out. So this is for the belt stripe. So now guys, the next thing to do now is to start sewing it. That will be in the next video. So if this tutorial has been helpful on how to draft and cut a trouser pattern has been helpful to you, don't forget to like, share and comment on my videos, and please guys, try to watch my videos. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video, which is going to be the stitching of this tutorial. It is so interesting. Just check out for the stitching. It is easy. See you guys. Bye for now.